That's the question tonight. Red Sox and Orioles wrap up the three-game set, and the Orioles have a chance to take all three. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Thorne, and welcome. The Orioles earlier this season, right here at Camden Yards, swept the Red Sox. Now they've got a second chance to do it. They got there on a shutout in Game 1, and then last night in 13 innings got the win. Buck Showalter pinpointed a key moment of the ball game. Here's what he said.
Well, it's that time. You do things all through the year to, when you get to September, you can push the envelope a little bit. I thought one of the key plays in the game was Parra going first to third there. That's a baseball player play, and that's why it's something you can't equivocate with analytics or anything. That's just a baseball player making a play, knowing they're playing deep with no doubles and ball taking him away from his target on glove side. It's a tough throw.
This is how it happened as Manny Machado with a runner at first base delivers the base hit. This is Parra going from first to third. Made it easily. Didn't even have to slide. That would set the stage for the guy who leads the Orioles and leads the majors in late inning game-winning RBIs. That is Chris Davis. That was the one that brought home the winning run, and the Orioles came away with a victory in 13 innings last night. Look at him carry the football. Watch this. Hey! Yes! Find that 5-hole. Jim Palmer, he's done it all season long.
Well, he has. And, the Orioles, it's pretty simple. They can't lose a lot, and they're not. They played, the last 7 games? They won 6 of them. I got a tweet saying, well, they certainly haven't folded the tent. People are very aware of that. Very easy. Some teams are talking about, okay, if you're not going to finish first or you get in the wild card, even though the Orioles still have an outside chance of doing that, well, the lower you finish, then maybe you can protect your draft choices, et cetera, et cetera. But the Orioles, they plan on trying to win every night, and they've showed that. Gausman pitched great. Very rarely do the Orioles score less than 4 runs and win. They did that the first night, and the last night they beat a team that's actually playing very well. There's only 24 guys in the bullpen, so that game could have gone forever last night. So I was very, very happy. And, I've never had a chance to work with Don Orsillo, but I'm working with his coach tonight. So
this is a very good man. Don Orsillo does the Red Sox. I left my jacket in the car, so I just ran next door and said, Don, can I borrow your jacket in order to do the Open? And Don said, of course, and gave it to me. And I said, if I get fired because I wore this jacket, I'm never going to do another baseball game. All right, talking about the Orioles and what they got to get done. There's a player on the mound tonight who wants a W. Mike Wright, it's been a long time.
Yeah, we saw him at his best when he came up. Sunday afternoon game against the Angels. He struck out Trout, 98-mile-per-hour fastball. He's got a big arm. It's almost like paralysis by overanalysis. You come to the big leagues with 9-1 down at AAA Norfolk. We know it's a higher level up here, but sometimes you overthink it. He's got a good fastball. He needs to use it. Betts and Bogart aren't playing tonight. They still have a pretty formidable lineup, but this is a night. He's gone, 6 consecutive starts without pitching 5 innings. Get into the 6th or 7th because this is an audition for next year.
All right, we'll see what happens here tonight. The Orioles go for the sweep, get out the brooms, and let's see whether or not the Orioles get to use them. Red Sox and the Orioles coming up. By Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Coons.com. When you're talking cars, you're talking Coons. Yet another magnificent day here in the Baltimore area. And a beautiful sunset. Our BGE home game time temperature, a very comfortable 77 degrees and clear skies. BGE Home, Baltimore's home team for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Why would you call anyone else? And the Red Sox have changed their lineup for tonight. Holt is going to get a start. Sandoval moves up. Pedroia back in. David Ortiz, the DH. Travis Shaw, Castillo. Swihart back behind the plate, second game in a row. Jackie Bradley Jr. And Devin Marrero is going to get the start at short. You see Ortiz. Extra base hits against the Orioles, the century mark.
And you got a couple of 25-year, actually 6'6" pitchers. Mike Wright, 25 years old. Lives in North Carolina, born in South Carolina. A lot of good fastball. He's got a sinker. He's got a rider. He can get up into the upper 90s, breaking ball, curveball, slider, occasional changeup. Going to face a team that is hitting very well. So, again, it pitched all right against Kansas City in his last start. Gave up a couple of home runs to Lorenzo Cain, one on a changeup, one on a fastball. So, again, just trust your stuff, throw a lot of strikes. You can see lefties at 308, so they're hitting them a little bit better. And the other side of this coin, they still have a very good lineup. We talked about it in the opening, but if you're going to face the Red Sox, as hot as Betts and Bogarts are, not a bad idea to have them out of the lineup, and they're not playing tonight.
There'll be 6 left-handers in the lineup against Wright, with that 308 batting average by lefties and 234 by right-handers. And here's one of them. Leading it off, Brock Holt moves into the leadoff spot. Pitch is taken for a strike, and we are underway as the Orioles conclude this homestand. It's going to be a good one no matter the result of this one. The Orioles are 4-1 on this homestand. Chance to be 5-1 with a victory here tonight. They have averaged 7.2 runs a ball game in the 5 games played during this homestand. Team ERA is up at 5.14, but the offense has covered that up, and they've gotten the W's. 1-1 pitch on the way. Holt taking all the way. It's outside. 2 ball, 1 strike count.
Yeah, so Holt, who has played everywhere, the only positions he hasn't caught, hasn't played first base, and he hasn't pitched.
The 2-1 delivery on the way, and that'll be foul back. He is the nominee for the Roberto Clemente Award from the Red Sox. Brian Mattis, of course, from the Orioles. We'll talk about that a little bit later, because this is the day, Roberto Clemente Day, around Major League Baseball. There's Brian. Each team has a nominee. One will be selected, and the fans can help vote on that. That pitch is going to miss inside, and the count goes 3-2.
Well, I'll tell you, that ball was a strike, and again, it's the first inning, it's twilight, but very easily Adrian Johnson behind the plate could have put the right arm up. Perfect pitch, inside corner.
3-2 delivery, ground ball. That'll go to third base. Manny Machado's up with it, makes the play just in time. Some more pretty good speed right there. Let's take a look at our Jeep Inside the numbers regarding this homestand for the Orioles. There are the numbers.
Yeah, and again, they're playing some teams that have, well, even though Kansas City, most amount of wins in the American League, they came in struggling a little bit, but the Orioles able to win 2 out of 3. And then the Red Sox, they've lost 2 in a row, but they came in playing well. So formidable opponents, and look at that. The ERA maybe a little bit high. 14 runs in that one game they lost to Kansas City.
Sandoval moves up to the number 2 spot to get a left-handed batter up in the lineup. Sandoval, 3 hits, 9 at-bats in this series. Both of these pitchers are facing the opposing team for the first time. Swing and a miss. And as we noted in the first 2 games, with Doug Eddings working behind the plate and Bill Miller the other, the 2 most prominent pitchers historically who have favored pitchers. Well, tonight it's exactly the opposite. We go from the 2 who favor the pitchers most to Adrian Johnson, who historically is in the right near the top in strike zones that favor hitters.
Well, you still got to strike's a strike. I mean, obviously sometimes when you have a big strike zone as an umpire, that means that ball's off the corner. But Wright, he struck out. I mean, he made a perfect pitch, and Adrian Johnson didn't get the hand up. That's not one of those questionable pitches, except for him.
They're all questionable. Every pitch is questionable. 1 ball, 2 strike count until we employ the tennis lines with the electronic beep
Well, there you go.
They're all questionable. 1-2 pitch, and that'll be put up in the air to center. Adam Jones will drift back. He's got it. And 2 down.
Yeah, least amount of errors in the major leagues, and this is the Orioles defense. Pierce, Jones, and Parra. Machado, Hardy, Scope, Davis, and then Caleb Joseph behind the plate. 3 base hits on Monday night in the 2-0 victory.
And here is Dustin Pedroia, 6-game hit streak. He's played now in 2 of the 3, and 3 for 6 against the Orioles. Another fine season by Pedroia, hitting .298 this year. Almost always takes the first pitch, and he does there, and Wright gets it in for a strike. There you see the career numbers. 146th game he's played against the Orioles. Pedroia takes it to right field. It's going to be right at him, and Parr's got it, and that'll do it. So Wright, a real good start as he retires the side in order. We'll check the Orioles lineup against Henry Owens coming up. That's an Oriole original right there. Let's take a look at the Orioles starting lineup, brought to you by Southwest. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Reimold in the leadoff spot. Machado and Davis, Jones, Scope, and Pierce, Parra, Hardy, and Joseph. Nolan Reimold, a very solid September.
And they will, as you mentioned, Gary, face Henry Owens for the first time. A lot of fastballs, fastball, curveball, changeup, and slider. So 4-pitch. Raced his way through the minor leagues. Last year 17-5 in the minor league, AA, AAA. This year at AAA. Not a very good record, but again, a very low ERA. Much better on the road than he is at home. Fenway Park's been a problem, and you could see, very much like Eduardo Rodriguez, lefties actually hit him better than righties, and that has command issues. So he can walk people. You know, he's not one of these guys. He doesn't throw as hard as Rodriguez, who can get into the 95, 96, but he does have 4 pitches.
And he starts one out with Nolan Reimold, who will take a pitch, something he has been doing consistently since moving into that leadoff spot. He's got a 5-game hit streak. He's had a 1 for 4 in these series. And Owens will come inside to him. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Owens 23 years old, Wright 25, so a couple of fairly young pitchers in this day and age. 1-1 came in on the fist, foul back.
Yeah, when you're 6'6" and you got the big leg kick, and then you turn your back and arms and legs, 88 in on your fist can seem a lot harder. There's the numbers we talked about. 1-1 at home, 1-1 on the road, but an ERA of 3 runs a game when he puts on the Grays. And there's a curveball that is not even close. Yeah, what about Nolan Reimold? He will take a walk. If you want to walk him, he's very happy to go to first. And he's been hitting some home runs, 3 in the month of September.
Two ball, 2 strike delivery on the way, and Reimold's gone on the off-speed pitch.
Yeah, straight changeup. Again, Swihart doing the catching. Use all your pitches. Haven't seen a slider, but he saw a straight change. First one. Great arm speed, and that's what sells it. And Nolan out in front for strikeout number one.
Manny Machado. Machado coming in with a couple of hits and 8 at bats here in this 3-game set against the Red Sox. The Orioles did sweep Boston here at Camden Yards June 9, 10, and 11. 1-0, 5-2, and 6-5 were the scores of those ball games, and now they've got a chance to sweep them twice. They've already won the season series. Torey Lovullo, manager over there, while John Farrell is out. That'll go to right, hauled in by Holt. Machado's out of there, 2 down.
So there's your defense for the Red Sox. Bradley moves over from right to center. Castillo still in left. As we told you, Brock Holt can play everywhere. Sandoval, Marrero, Pedroia, Gold Glover over at second. Travis Shaw with a hot bat. And then Blake Swihart doing the catching. Switch hitting catcher and a young switch hitting catcher for the Sox.
Orioles have gone 10-18 against left-handed starters this year. That's right in the middle of the pack in win percentage in the American League. 2 above 500. Chris Davis up. He'll go the other way, left field. Castillo is playing over that way, a long run, and won't get there, and it's in the seats in any event. Take a look at our Maryland Live Casino inside the numbers on base.
Yeah, how about Encarnacion of the Blue Jays? Of course, Joe Mauer trying to keep pace. Mookie Betts not playing. Fielders had a big 2-game series against the Astros. In fact, the Rangers have taken over first place in the American League West, and then Chris Davis. Teams not hitting home runs. He gets on some way, walks or.
And he's been hitting. He's hit safely now 12 of the last 13. Thus the September 413 batting average. He has hit during the last 13 games. That big stretch, 19 for 46, 10 extra base hits. 10 of the 19 hits he's had in the last 13 games have been for extra bases. And he did get that game-winning RBI, 13th inning last night. 1 ball, 2 strike count on him. 2 down, nobody on. Left-hander Owens delivers to him. Big sweeping breaking ball. It's outside.
Now, so they've seen the whole enchilada here in the first. They've seen changeups, curveballs, all different speeds. Topped out at 90 with the fastball. Curveball at 71.
Pitch to Davis will be taken inside. Chris, an even 300 against left-handers coming into this ball game. 247 against the righties this year. Here's the 3-2 delivery on the way, and a chopper foul at the plate. And we'll do the full count again. Three-two.
Yeah, anytime you see somebody that, of course, Randy Johnson got in the Hall of Fame. He's 6'10", but Owens is a similar body type.
And Davis will ground it into the shift. Pedroia over there in a hurry, and each pitcher starts out with a clean 1-2-3 inning. 1 complete, final game of this set. No score. Later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. So the Orioles will conclude this series against the Red Sox, and then we'll head down to Tampa Bay and start a 4-game set tomorrow night. Chris Tillman and Matt Moore will be the scheduled starters for the opener tomorrow night. We won't be able to see that in Tampa, but here in Baltimore, how beautiful is that sky? And the new moon showing up as well. Boy, the weather here this week has been just sensational. Here's David Ortiz. Not had a hit yet in this series. He is 0 for 6 and has not had a good year against the Orioles. The Oriole pitchers have held him to a 178 batting average in the first 15 games played. Now, he's still been productive because he's got 3 home runs and 8 RBIs against the Orioles. 1-0 delivery and late on it.
Yeah, that's the movement. And again, Mike Wright, his fastball 2-seamer, that's 91, and then the 4-seamer he can add, and we've seen him add, not lately, but we've seen him against Mike Trout throw at 98, throw it right by him, change speeds with his fastball.
And a swing and a miss off the table on the 84-mile-an-hour delivery.
Gary, the one thing that I see that they really did a nice job, Mike Griffith, the AAA pitching coach, when he went down there, the wind up a lot better, the arm speed a lot better. That was a really good changeup. When you get the fastball changeup combination, you got something going if you're Mike Wright.
He had a great AAA season, of course, 9-1 ERA of 2.22. Made his debut May 17 at the majors against the Angels, and in that ball game, an outstanding outing. No runs, 4 hits over 7. That ball in the air to center field. Jones going back turned at the wall, and goodbye home run. And that's what Ortiz has done, not just to the Orioles, but everybody else. His 4th home run against the Orioles this season, and the 47th against the Orioles in his career.
Well, it's home run number 501, and now he's trying to catch Chris Davis. That's the 6th home run he's hit in the month of September. Batting average well over 300, and very much like in the Kansas City game, Mike Wright got a fastball early on down the middle to Lorenzo Cain, and that's exactly where this one is, and then Big Papi does the rest.
2 home runs Kansas City had against Wright in his last start. Gives up 1 here. That's the 8th he has surrendered this season. Here is Travis Shaw, who will foul that one away. So 1-0 lead on the homer by Ortiz, leading off the 2nd inning. Shifts on against Travis Shaw, who shows bunt. Nobody over there in that left side at third base, with Machado playing at the shortstop position in the shift, and he's not buying the bunt. He's going right back.
Yeah, 48th game for Travis Shaw. And there's a good curveball. We know he can hit the fastball. That's what he hit off Brian Mattis to tie the game up. That was his 11th home run, 6th against left-handed pitching in only 46 games.
1-2 delivery to him, and that's there for a strike. Wright will get the strikeout, first of the ball game for him. 1 down.
And the good thing about Mike Wright, he's not letting the ball down the middle to a guy with 501 home runs bother him. He comes right back, uses his breaking ball to get the 2 strikes, and then Shaw outside corner for the strikeout.
Rusney Castillo. He's had 1 hit, 10 at bats in this series. The Red Sox came into this series scoring a ton of runs. They were one of the hottest offensive teams in the majors when they opened up this series, and the Oriole pitching has held them down. I mean, even though they got 5 last night, Orioles won it, of course, an extra inning, 6-5, after shutting him out in the first game.
Yeah, what they've been able to do to Castillo, Castillo got a backdoor slider off of Givens. That's his only hit, but they pounded him in. They had said, let's see if you can hit the ball on the inside part of the plate. 2 strikes. Let's see where Joseph goes. Now he's going away.
0-2 delivery. Get towards second base. Jonathan Scope. Nice snag and a good throw. Good play by Scope. Used the webbing of that smaller infielder's glove to come away with that one.
So they go away, and he hits it hard, and then Jonathan is there ranging to his left. Again, it's just a matter. It's hit so hard if you can catch it, and there you are. There's the web that Gary Thorne talked about.
Those gloves that let infielders feel the ball a little better than the outfielders who want a longer reach. 2 down, nobody on. That ball goes to left field. Swihart, and a running catch made as Pierce comes over to put it away. So 1 run, 1 hit, no errors, nobody left. David Ortiz, the home run, is 25th in this ballpark in his career. Blanchfield from Federalsburg, 500 for being selected, 500 more for every Orioles home run hit in our ball game. Play baseball buck scratch-offs and win up to $50,000 instantly. Learn more, mdlottery.com/baseball. Federalsburg, population 2,697. A town in Maryland with a very cute railroad station. I had to look it up. I didn't know where Federalsburg was. Good luck, Terry.
Yeah,
and Adam Jones up.
And when you have an autistic son who knows everything in the world,
probably knows that station.
Well, yeah, and he could tell you what trains go in and out, how they're powered. That'll give you the temperature too.
I love it. Taking up high, and Adam Jones showing bunt. Sandoval not believing it either.
Yeah, he got his running in, came sprinting in. No, he does move in about 5 feet.
Adam, 5-game hit streak, 2 for 9 in the series. You foul that one off.
So we've seen already from Henry Owens that he's going to use all his pitches. And how many kids at 23 can do that? We talked about last year. I mean, 17-5 in the minor league. So obviously you get on the radar when you have that kind of number.
Making his 8th major league start, 4th that he's done on the road. So far on the roads where he likes to be. Here's the 1-1 delivery on the way, and an off-speed pitch again. And Adam Jones way out in front fouls it off.
Yeah, I was checking out his windup on YouTube today, and it's really not a whole lot wrong with it. You know, he's big, and you know, when Randy Johnson came up at 6'10", he had trouble with his balance.
This time the other way foul.
Yeah. And then once he figured that out, Tom House was the pitching coach with Nolan Ryan, and Randy went down to see Nolan throw, and Tom said you start on the balls of your feet and you land on the balls of your feet, and it gives you balance. And Randy Johnson became a different pitcher. A little thing like that.
ERA for Owens at home is 6.8, on the road 3. Swing and a miss, went up high, all over the place. To his credit, moving pitches around on Adam Jones.
Yeah, you know, he's thrown 6 home runs, Gary, and they're all at Fenway. None on the road. That's why that ERA right at 3. So Blake Swihart, he goes up, wants the ball out of the zone, and he throws it exactly where the glove was.
Owens' record 2-2. The wins have come against Detroit and Kansas City. Losses to the Yankees twice and then non-decisioned against Seattle and in his last outing against Toronto. Here's Jonathan Scope. Jonathan carries an 8-game hit streak in. He's continued it with a hit in each of the first 2 games. Fastball by him right there, a good heater. And Jonathan's having just a really fine season, and it's gotten better as he got back in and able to truly get into season shape. Pitch will be up high. Since August 1st, he's had more home runs than any other second baseman in the majors. 7 of them. 1-2 pitch to him is going to be in the dirt. And he's blossoming as a player that the rest of the league is taking notice of as they get a chance to see him play in a couple of series. 2-ball, 2-strike count, 1 down. Pierce waiting on deck. Owens' delivery to him. Oh, how about that soft toss? Pedroia, that one was almost a pool shot. He had to wait so long for it. And there are 2 away. The O's return home to begin the final week of the regular season. A 4-game series against the Jays starting Monday, September 28th. Wednesday, the 30th, all fans get the Miguel Gonzalez T-shirt, and we hope we're going to have a band on hand for that. Don't miss the final T-shirt giveaway and enjoy another day at the ballpark. Tickets, Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. The mariachi band, we're going to find them, bring them in as part of the mariachi T-shirt.
Well, you know, Toronto will be in. John Gibbons is from San Antonio. I'm sure he can
find a slide guitar
nice
guy somewhere.
He's a happy guy too.
Yeah. John
would never know it from looking at him. He never gets excited, but he knows mariachi bands.
There's Miguel. 1-0 delivery on the way. Had an old dear old friend of my first came into baseball in the minors, Doc Edwards, who managed with the Cleveland Indians, and Doc loved mariachi bands. And wherever we traveled in the minor leagues, places where you wouldn't believe a mariachi band could possibly exist, Doc knew where they were.
That's before Google.
That's before Google. You got to know. You couldn't just look it up. And that's where I fell in love with them. I really do love mariachi bands. Ball put up in the air again out in front of that one. The outfield very, very deep here. And getting underneath it is Bradley, and that's 6 in a row retired by Owens. So put on that big, beautiful colored hat, guitars, trumpets, and away we go. Four and 7 on the road, 13-0 at home. He'll be in the ball game against Perez with a 1-3 mark. Not particularly good in the last 4. The National League Central, the Cardinals now lead the Pirates by 3. St. Louis has led by as many as 9. That's the smallest lead since April 25. And the Pirates face Jake Arrieta. Major League leading 20th win is what he is after third game of 4 against the Cubs. And the pitch taken down low for a ball. Well, the pennant chases are underway. 1-0 count on Jackie Bradley Jr. and the pitch is strike on the inside corner. Bradley has not had a hit in his last 13 times to the plate, including an 0 for 7 in this series. Marrero, then Holt at the top of the order, and the pitch taken down low for a ball. Two ball, one strike count. And that pitch is going to be a little bit away, and the count will go to 3-1.
Yeah, they've been able to get ahead of Jackie Brantley Jr. and again, he's really been swinging the bat well. I mean, he's 1 for 24, but until then, a lot of extra base hits, 22 of the last 31 hits, and so now you got to come to him. Don't want to walk him. Never want the leadoff guy on. That's why when you get to pitch a little bit and you get your innings, it's imperative that you really throw pitches early in the count that you got a good chance of throwing strikes. And Mike Wright just learning that.
3-2 delivery on the way, and there is a leadoff walk. So Bradley is on, and that'll be the first walk surrendered by Mike Wright. And it's time now for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use O's Couch Cam. You just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Toronto's taking the lead against Toronto early tonight, 4-1. Batista already picking up an RBI. David Price going after the victory in that one. And since he has arrived on the scene, it's been a real winning splurge by the Blue Jays.
Well, they're 6-1 just when he pitches.
Here is Marrero, and the pitch will be taken outside. 3-game hit streak. He's had only one at bat, picked up a hit as he came on as a pinch hitter in the 13th inning last night and got a single. He's at short. Bogarts is out. Bogarts has a very hot bat going.
Yeah, he gets called up. He goes 0 for 6, and since then he's 5 for 9.
Pretty good lead at first. That ball, as he pulled that back foot up, is fouled off the other way.
Wait a minute. We have a guy that we're going to see later. Back foot Simmons.
Back foot Simmons, yeah. Bucket. Actually, his is Bucket.
Well, that's what he just did. They used to say, well, then they used to have, I mean, I played a long time ago, but they used to hold the rope because your back foot would actually step in the bucket. In other words, behind you, and they have a rope pulling you towards home plate to try to train you to keep it in line with your front foot, the one that strides.
Well, that's the old, as from what I know, that's the old way of trying to hit the ball the other way. The hitters would pull their back foot up, forcing themselves to hit off their front foot, and if you're right-handed, you lash the left to right field.
Yeah, change the angle of the bat.
Yeah. And that's what he's trying to do, because he's got the hole between first and second base. The infield shading him, and again, that'll be fouled off the other way, and a ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, one of the great guys, Harvey Keene managed, the Brew Crew when we used to play the Brewers when they had some terrific players, a couple of Hall of Fame players on there, and Yount and Molitor. But Harvey Keene, if I remember correctly, when I was a kid, I mean, he was the master. And Dick Grote faced him when I first came to the big leagues when I was 19, spring training. He could turn that ball to right field with the best of them.
1-2 the count. Nobody out. Bradley's made no move to go and does not here. We're talking about the Jays with Price. They activated Price on July 31st in Toronto, and they have the best record in baseball since. They are 30-11 since Price joined the staff, and their starting pitchers have the best ERA in the American League during that stretch at 3.63. Now, all that's not Price, obviously, but it didn't hurt. 2-2 delivery on the way, and a chopper. Right, we'll go to first and record the out. So Bradley gets moved up on the Marrero ground ball. Get in on all the baseball action with Masson. Text the word Orioles 29292 for team alerts and chances to win exclusive prizes all season long, including meet and greets with your favorite players. Again, that's Orioles 29292 for O's alerts you can't miss. One away, runner in scoring position. Red Sox in the series 3 for 16 with runners in scoring position. A lot of runners have been left on base. 17 left on in the first 2 games by the Red Sox, 16 by the O's. Here is Brock Holt, and he will take the pitch for a strike.
It kind of started on that 13 inning game. They would win it against the Rays, but they would strike out 19 times. But you're right. I mean, since August 1st, Bradley came back, Travis Shaw, Bogarts got hot, Betts got hot. They've averaged 6 runs a game.
Yeah.
And that leadoff walk really puts a lot of pressure on Mike Wright. Second time through the order already.
Inside to him. Holt takes it. Holt grounded out his first time up. 1-1. Holt 274 on the year in these situations, and he's had 95 chances, so significant number of at-bats with a runner in scoring position.
Well, he's a key player on this team. And when Pedroia went down with a hamstring, he played second base. And he can play all over.
1 ball, 1 strike delivery on the way. And again, working, trying to get the inside corner. Missed 2-1.
No, he hit Caleb Joseph's glove. So I suggestion, I suppose, is move it a little bit lower.
2-1 count.
Was not very good against Kansas City in on the lefties, but tonight not getting the calls, but certainly looks like the command's a little bit better.
That's going to be a base hit up the middle. Bradley will be waved home, and Adam Jones will go into second base. So an RBI base hit by Holt, and the Red Sox have a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, so that 3 for 16 is that's in the rearview mirror. And again, the leadoff walk, guys 1 for 24. You didn't want to walk him, you did. Then you get a change up in the middle of the plate. Holt is a line drive hitter back up the middle, so when he gets a change up that doesn't have good location, that's what he hits it exactly where you threw it.
39th RBI for Holt, and still only 1 away, runner at first base, and that'll bring Sandoval to the plate. Sandoval flied out to center field his first time up. Red Sox 2 runs on 2 hits so far off Wright. Sandoval will go to left field with it, and that'll stay up. Pierce puts it away. Runner back to first. 2 down.
Now, not much of a lead for Brock Holt. He's 8 out of 9. Excuse me.
Certainly
get all excited when I talk about guys stealing bases. You know, Betts obviously the guy that really runs on this team. Pedroia usually, but with hamstring problems, is not a guy that has done a lot of running because of the injury. Just hits.
Just hits. Pedroia flied out to right his first time up, and he will take the pitch for a strike on the outside corner. The veteran now, Dustin Pedroia, and what a series of years he has put up with the Red Sox, becoming a team leader and a middle of the order hitter, and successfully so. 0-1 delivery on the way to him, and he launches that one to left field. He got a lot of it, and goodbye home run, and that's why he's a number 3 hitter. Pedroia delivers number 11, RBIs 38 and 39.
Well, watch this slider hang. I mean, you just can't throw a better pitch to hit. And obviously Mike Wright, it just rolls up there, hanging change up to Holt. And again, he just belts it.
So Pedroia's first home run this year against the Orioles. And the Orioles now down 4-0. Ortiz, a home run his first time up, takes the pitch on a bounce. And for Wright, another tough start for the Oriole right-hander. He gave up 4 runs, 4 hits, 5 innings. Last start against Kansas City. Not won a ball game since May 28. Since then, he's had 4 losses and 1 no decision. Ortiz fouls that one back, 1-1.
I can't imagine. You talked about Mike Wright's number, 9-1 with a 2.22, a little over 2 runs a game at AAA. See what up here? I can't imagine that when he got behind the hitters at AAA, he had to throw him changeup, which he just did to Ortiz. So he has to pitch totally different. You know, we talk about, again, you get this guy in reports and you go, okay, this guy's a real good fastball hitter. But at the end of the day, I think for Mike Wright, and that's maybe why he'll be a back end of the bullpen guy, he's going to have the power of the ball. When he tries to finesse it, he gets in trouble. He did it down in Houston, did it up in Toronto, hung a slider to Pedroia. Doesn't mean he can't pitch at this level, but right now he looks to me like he's trying to run the mild, but he only trained for the 220. He doesn't really know what to do yet.
3-1 strike count on Ortiz, and he'll rip that one over Wright's head, right through the middle for a base hit. And Ortiz 2 for 2 in the ball game after picking up an 0 for 6 in the first 2, and the Orioles bullpen is active.
And then again, look where this one ends up. He's looking fastball, gets it belt high, middle of the plate. Jorge Rondon is getting loose.
So Wright in trouble, and they want to draw a little time for the bullpen and also try and settle him down. So Dave Wallace, the Oriole pitching coach, will make his way out to the mound to talk with Mike. But the Orioles, as far as their starting pitching is concerned, taking the whole season, it's 10th in ERA. The starting pitching for the Orioles has had their struggles, especially of late. They are ranked 13th, 10th overall for the staff, 13th for the starters in ERA, and home runs allowed. They have given up 94 home runs on the season.
Yeah, the Red Sox, 14th with their starters, even though they've been on a, well, the reason they're winning, their starting pitching got better. Same with the Orioles.
Orioles bullpen much better, both overall and of late, than the Red Sox. Travis Shaw, runner on at first base. Shaw will take the pitch. He struck out his first time up. Ortiz on at first. Davis is not going to hold him. Stay close enough so Ortiz can't walk away off the bag, but at the same time with a lefty up, cover that hole a little better. 1-0 pitch on the way, and Shaw fouls that one back into the screen. 1 strike count.
And you can go back and look at the hitters. The home run by Ortiz was a fastball down the middle of the plate. Didn't want to walk Jackie Bradley Jr. leading off an inning. Did. Hung a slider to Pedroia, who we see in our picture right there.
Oh, that's a major league pop-up. Manny Machado. And he will put that one away. That one had some hang time. 3 runs scored, though. RBI Holt, 2 RBIs Pedroia. 4-0 Boston. Southwest.com. By Royal Farms. Royal Farms ATMs are surcharge free. Get your cash for nothing. Bank or credit card fees may still apply. And by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you. Gary Thorne, Jim Palmer here on this beautiful night as the Orioles wrap up the homestand. And right now, trailing in it 4-0. Owens looking for his 3rd win. The team has gone 3-4 in the 7 starts Henry Owens has made for Boston on the year. Parra will stand in. It'll be Parra, Hardy, and then Joseph due up.
Yeah, they get him about a little over 4 runs a game, so they've already done that. And they've been scoring close to 6, so there's the low strike.
Talk about pushing the right buttons. How about Parra? He had never hit leadoff for the Orioles, so he did in the ball game. He had not drawn a walk since August 23. What does he do in the 13th inning in the leadoff spot? He gets a walk and would ultimately come around to score. So, that's managing.
And it was also a very timely walk.
There are the numbers before and after.
Well, I think if you look at the middle, the 5 home runs.
Off the mound and a base hit.
And I think Mr. Parr just, he hit 4 of his home runs here at Camden Yards, and then all of a sudden you go, gee, I can hit home runs here, and then your swing change, because this kind of hitter he is. Big, slow curveball, very much what Brock did on the changeup, hit it back up the middle. So that should be his approach, and then again, when you get the counts as a veteran hitter, a guy that does have some pop, that's when you'll hit your home runs. But early on, it looked like he was going to use the whole field, and then got a little pull conscious.
So the Orioles get the leadoff man on. Their first hit, 6 in a row, had been retired. Hardy will take the pitch. JJ trying to get that bat heated up. Has struggled a bit since coming off the DL here in the series. He's had a couple of hits in 8 at bats. 1-0 pitch from Owens to him, and that will be in there for a strike. Hardy 4 for 29, 8 strikeouts in 7 games since coming off the DL with a groin strain.
Yeah, then the shoulder injury, inadvertently diving for a ball in spring training. Came to spring training very healthy.
1-1 will be foul back.
You have not seen his wealth, a very wealthy guy in J.J. Hardy.
Nope.
Hopefully he'll be able to take the offseason to recover.
He will welcome that when it comes. He's had to play through some.
Well, you could just
problems.
see his approach. He used to be on the plate a little bit more. I don't think that he feels healthy enough. Of course, the shoulder injury was the front shoulder. That gets you to the baseball.
1-2 delivery to him. Foul back. JJ's put the numbers up against the Red Sox, though, in the games played. 323 off Boston. 4 RBIs this year against the Red Sox. Steadfast, and obviously one of Buck Showalter's almost assistant coaches on the field when he's out there playing. And even when he's not, he's helping the guys around him. 1-2 Owens delivery, and that one's going to miss up high. So a 2-ball 2-strike count. Powers on at first base. Joseph waiting on deck. Orioles trying to extend their 3-game win streak. They are 5.5 games out of the wild card spot, having won 6 of their last 7 ball games. Hardy on an off speed out in front. '23-year-old left-hander will work his 7th pitch in this at bat to Hardy.
Yeah, we'll see how the fly ball. I mean, he coming into this game, 33 on the ground, 49 in the air. So he is a fly ball pitcher at this point in his career. He would love to turn one of those changeups over and maybe get JJ to hit a ground ball at one of his guys.
2-2 delivery on the way. Hardy does. Pedroia had to wait on it, though. There's one nice cross. Marrero coming across the bag on that double play really got over there in a hurry.
Well, the one thing about Devin Marrero is that he's always been has a reputation of a fabulous glove man. So off the end of the bat, there's your 4, there's your 6, and there's your 3. A nice little toss. He can take it, clear the runner, and then a big target over there with Travis Shaw playing first.
So 2 down, and here is Caleb Joseph. Caleb getting the second start in this series, 3 for 4 in the first game. He's just under 300 against the Red Sox this year. Pedroia on the soft liner comes right to him. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, nobody left on. Facing the minimum, Owens through 3. research. Through the partnership, Orioles and the governor's office hope to have a meaningful difference in the fight against childhood cancer. The governor himself battling non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. He spoke today.
I spent time at the pediatric oncology ward, and we've done a number of things with kids, and it gives me the energy and hope and strength. But to see the passion and the faith and the positive attitudes of these young children, it's really unbelievable. I can't thank the Orioles organization enough. Peter Angelos and the whole organization has been terrific. I mean, very generous. They just reached out. It was their idea. They reached out to us and said, what can we do, Governor, to help with the cause? And they really worked hard to make this happen.
And there are 200 youngsters waging that battle who are here watching the ball game tonight as guests of the Orioles. Peter Angelos said, we are privileged to join the governor in the fight to end childhood cancer and to help advance life-saving research and treatment programs for the children that bravely battle this terrible disease. So a nice night tonight. Governor Hogan there with the youngsters. Members of the Orioles family on hand here tonight as well. Yeah, we see you. And great to have you here. Welcome. And the fight against cancer in youngsters. Castillo will line that one to center field for a base hit. Leadoff man on here in the 4th inning. If you'd like to join in and help in that fight, you can do so as with the partnership. The Orioles are contributing $50,000. They did tonight, and fans can help by visiting Orioles.com/charity. Take advantage of a 50% off ticket discount for each of the Blue Jay games coming up in 2 weeks. For details, Orioles.com/charity. Swihart will take the pitch on the inside corner. Leadoff man on now in 3 of the 4 innings for the Red Sox. And Wright had retired 74% of the limited number of leadoff batters he'd faced in his 8 starts. 0-1 delivery, and that's inside.
Yeah, they're looking fastball, and if you make a mistake with your breaking ball, and that's what Holt hit, the changeup back up the middle and the hanging slider to Pedroia. So again, it's all right if they look fastball as long as you make good pitches. If you get them in the middle of the plate, it's happened a couple of times to Ortiz, the same to Castillo. That's when you get in trouble.
1 ball, 1 strike delivery on the way, and that one is going to miss. Down and away in a 2 ball, 1 strike count. 4 runs on 5 hits so far for the Red Sox. Rondon in the bullpen. He's been up and throwing now for the last inning. Took a little break while the Orioles were at the plate. Now back up again. 2-1 pitch on the way. That ball will be put up in the air to right center field. It's in that alleyway. Jones going back, trying to get there at him. Can't. Off the bottom of the wall. Parra's got to come and get it. Castillo's at third. He'll hold up there as Parra gets it in off the mound to the cutoff man, Chris Davis. Castillo has almost had Swihart right on his heels as he was waiting to see if the ball was going to be caught. And that's going to be it for Wright.
Yeah, another pitch up in the zone. 2-1 change up again. Right pitch, wrong location, and the Red Sox have done a job on Mike Wright.
So a very tough start, and whether he'll have any more this season is a matter of question right now, just because of the numbers.
A lot of balls in the middle of the plate against a hot hitting team. So again, they didn't miss a lot of pitches, and of course Rondon will come in now, and it's time for a little relief for your car too. Visit Jiffy Lube for regular oil changes and help prevent damage and wear to your engine. Jiffy Lube, drive in today. Well, he's got a good arm, and you know, he can 93 4.5 hard slider. The Orioles down 4-0 will play halfway in the infield.
Jackie Bradley Jr. at the plate, second and third occupied. Rondon's pitch is in there. He drew a walk his first time up and scored. Still looking to get out of the 0 for 13 that he's in, and a choice opportunity to do that right here. Base hit could score a couple of runs. Lead runner Castillo, Swihart at second base. Ball fouled back. Rondon comes on and gets a 2-strike count. So the Orioles getting a look at pitchers. Mike Wright's certainly one of those they wanted to take a look at, and have had an opportunity now in 9 starts, 10 appearances for him. Started out great and did not continue that way. 0-2 the count. Infield stays halfway. Bradley will take the pitch, and it's a called strike.
Yeah, I think he thought it was high, but it was over the plate. Kind of looks around, but again, right to the where the glove is, and then Caleb Joseph on your Nissan pitch track brings it down. Watch him just bring the glove and the ball down into the zone. Again, it's a high strike, and they get it. Now they bring the infield way in.
Got to try cut that run off on a ground ball. Guerrero grounded out his first time up, and he gets a base hit into right field. Castillo scores. Swihart will stay. Parra hits the cutoff man, and they add to the lead. 5-0 now in the RBI by Marrero.
Nice at bat because he doesn't get greedy. He's just trying to use the whole field, and then do you get a good pitch to hit or not? And that was just a slider that stayed up enough that it made it easy to poke into right field.
That run will be charged to right, and he's responsible also for Swihart over there at third base. 1 away, first and third. Infield will back up for 2 with Holt, the leadoff batter, up. He has already picked up a base hit and an RBI. 1 for 2 in the ball game. Rondon's pitch will be in there for a strike. 0-1.
And you see what a nice job they've done of using the middle of the field. You know, your approach is to hit it back where it's thrown from, and then if you hang a slider like they did to Pedroia, he pulls it. Other than that, just gap. Hit it to the gaps.
That ball's going to go into center field. That's a base hit. Swihart will score. Jones will hold the runner at second base, and a 2 RBI ball game now for Holt with a couple of base hits, and it's a 6-0 lead, and all those runs charged to right, and that will finish his line. And here's what the Orioles have gone through with starters.
Yeah, they were so good last year, along with the Angels, the most wins with 55. Totally different. Came out of spring training trying to, you know, maybe get that, 6 innings is 18 outs, get that 19th and 20. And, you know, Bud Norris won 15. He's now playing for San Diego. William Chen probably pitched better than his record. Didn't get him a lot of runs. Tillman, 20 out of his last 23 starts, 3 runs or less. Couldn't do that. So all the way down the line, Gonzalez has been hurt. Starters have just not pitched, to me, up to their capabilities, and certainly not as well as they would like.
Yeah. And certainly not as expected by the Orioles. First and second, still 1 away. 8 hits on the board for the Red Sox. Sandoval 0 for 2. And that one to center field, an Adam ball. Runners halfway will go back.
Well, it's batting practice tonight, folks. A lot of balls in the middle of the plate, and Rondon has, the last time he pitched was about 9 days ago.
Pitched on the 7th against the Yankees. Gave up 2 runs, 2 hits, and a walk.
So the average major league fastball is right around 91, maybe somewhere in 91 to 92. So if you're at 93 in the middle of the plate, that's hitting speed.
Yeah.
And when we've seen him pitch well, he's got a pretty good slider. But that's what he got up to Marrero.
Here is Pedroia. Pedroia delivered his 11th home run in the 3rd inning. 2-run shot. Now has a 7-game hit streak and has 6 RBIs against the Orioles this season. He's had 13 career home runs against the Orioles, and 5 of the 13 have been hit here at Camden Yards. Moving out Joseph to stop it.
Well, we always marvel when you look at Dustin Pedroia. I mean, he comes in at a .299 lifetime hitter, so you know he can hit. MVP in 2007. Down numbers as far as runners in scoring position, but he could drive the ball. We saw the home run, but last night a double to the base of the wall in right center field. So for a little guy, he gets the bat going, takes a big swing.
That'll be popped up, Davis, and will run out of room. Souvenir. Runners head back to first and second base.
So for a little guy, he can generate a lot of bat speed, and the bat stays on plane very, very long. That's why he can hit line drives. That's why he can use the whole field.
2 ball, 1 strike count on him. Rondon up and down with the Orioles, spending time at AAA Norfolk. Claimed off waivers. Pitch will be taken outside. Overall, he went 3-1 with a 2.33. 30 relief appearances with the Tides this season. And he is obviously another one of the players the Orioles want to take a look at. 3 ball, 1 strike count. Runners on first and second. There are 2 down. Rondon's pitch, and in the air to left field as he got another one. Way back. Goodbye home run. A 2-homer ball game for Dustin Pedroia, and 5 RBIs in his last 2 at bats. A 9-0 Red Sox lead.
Now the other thing is he can get on the high pitch. He lives to be able to hit the high fastball, and here it is. Well, again, the path of your bat. What did Ted Williams say? 6-degree upswing. Maybe Ted could do that, but that was certainly a very effective upswing.
So Pedroia, a very big ball game. And here is David Ortiz. 3 home runs for the Red Sox in the game. Ortiz, his 35th, came leading off the 2nd inning. Boy, the Orioles right Rondon really getting tagged. Rondon's given up 2 singles and a home run. 3 runs in off him, 6 runs in 3 innings off Wright. And Mike's still out there watching, and you just know, wondering what happened. Well, that's part of what happened. Dustin Pedroia. 0-2 the count on Ortiz.
And then he's already homered.
Red Sox getting their 3rd at bats here. That'll be handled by Davis, who will take it to the bag for the out. But a big inning, 5 runs in for the Red Sox. Pedroia, a couple of home runs in the game. Red Sox 9, Orioles nothing. Beaches and islands of Sarasota, Florida's Gulf Coast. Go beyond the stadium to Siesta Beach. Named winner of the 2015 TripAdvisor Traveler's Choice Awards for beaches. Plan now. You can go at visitsarasota.org and make your plans. 9-0 lead. Dustin Pedroia's first five RBI game of the year. His second 2-homer ball game of the season for the Red Sox. And Pedroia back out there at second base.
You mentioned last night he's on a mission to get to 300. I don't think he listened to the broadcast.
No.
He would not know that.
No.
3 hits last night, 2 home runs tonight.
Nolan Reimold, a strikeout victim his first time up. Henry Owens has faced the minimum number through 3, giving up 1 hit. Double play wiped that out. 2-0 delivery by the left-hander. Reimold will take that on the inside corner, and the count goes to 2-1. 2-1 pitch. Reimold the other way. Nolan has hit safely now, 7 of the last 8 that he's been in at a 345 clip, and he has scored a run or more in each of those 7 games. 10 runs scored during that stretch.
Yeah, Owens out of Orange, California, and he was 36th pitcher or player picked in 2011.
Off speed slipped out of his hand, way up 3-2.
Supplemental right after the first round. Actually, the Red Sox had three of the first 36 players that year.
3-2. Reimold on the ground to short and a base hit. So Reimold leads off the bottom of the 4th inning with a single. The Orioles 2 out of 4 leadoff batters on. Orioles upcoming schedule brought to you by Mile One Automotive, offering you 20 convenient locations throughout the Baltimore area. Visit them in store or online at mile1.com. Tampa Bay Rays for 4 coming up from St. Petersburg starting tomorrow night. 6:30 O's Extra, and 7 o'clock for the ball game. Tillman against Moore. Wei-Yin Chen against Drew Smiley. Kevin Gausman, Erasmo Ramirez, Ubaldo Jimenez, and Jake Odorizzi. That ball in the air to center, hit hard, going back with room. Bradley. Reimold back to first base. Manny Machado, 2 fly ball outs. One away in the 4th inning. And that'll bring up Chris Davis.
Well, it's 9-0. Certainly, we've already seen Henry Owens, for a young guy, as you mentioned, Gary, only 23, going to use all his pitches. So I can't imagine that he's going to change his style, because it's been very effective.
Doing what you're doing, right?
Yeah, exactly. And one pitch at this point can't beat you. So certainly takes some of the tension out. Not the focus, though.
1 down, runner at first base, and Davis will take the pitch for a strike. Chris continues in the battle with Nelson Cruz for that home run title in the American League. Cruz got 1 last night, has tied Chris. They both have 42 to lead the American League.
Now, Nelson had a quad injury, so he missed some time, and he's back being Nelson Cruz.
Chris Davis second in RBI still. Donaldson 119, Chris 107. 89 runs scored. He and Manny Machado both with 89 lead the Orioles, and they are 6th in the American League in runs. Pitch will be taken up high, and a 1-ball 2-strike count on Davis with Reimold on at first base. Shift on, but with the runner on, they keep it a double play depth. One-two delivery, and waved at that one at 79.
Yeah, the master of changing speeds. Easy to think. Double-A last year, as he won 13 games. Imagine those guys. Usually a lot of your young hitters, better fastball hitters. This kid can really change the look. And again, at 6'6", arms and legs and deception, and trying to upset the Orioles hitting timing, and he's been able to do that.
So Adam Jones in with 2 away. Adam was a strikeout victim his first time up. Adam this year, 281 lefties, 272 right-handers coming into the ball game. Pitch on the way, and that will be fouled off. And a 1-strike count on Jones. Adam last year had a hefty 344 average against left-handers, so it's dropped. Still a very respectable 281. The beanpole. 0-1 count.
Very efficient.
Very.
Beanpole. Now it's funny, you watch him walk off the mound, he actually has pretty good muscle tone. So he's, he's 6'6". I was reading some comments. Bob Kipper was his AAA manager or his pitching coach. He said he may be a little goofy off the field, but he has a tremendous work ethic.
Here's the 0-1 delivery. Jones on a nasty pitch that came almost to his back foot.
And that's just a little slider. So we've seen 71, big slow curve ball, change up, maybe 72, 3. And again, it just changes everything when you're 6'6", because as a hitter, you're looking for that little window where you release the ball. And it's just different. The angle's different.
0-2 the count. Brian Moldoff first. Had to go up and tomahawk that pitch. Didn't get much on it. And the outs recorded by Pedroia. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left on base. 4 complete. The Red Sox on top 9-0. The Angels, of course, in a battle. Game 3 of 3 against Seattle tonight. They have split the first 2 games of that series. Cleveland, they are leading their ball game 4-0 tonight. They are 5 games back of the Astros. Game 3 of 4 against KC, splitting the first 2. And the Twins, they've won 7-10 at home. They're hosting Detroit tonight, or at least they hope to. They are in a rain delay in that ball game. As the fight goes on to get to the postseason. The National League all but settled as to the teams that will be playing in the postseason. Just a matter of what position they'll be in. While in the American League, still got a couple of division races, a division race going on, and a wild card race. And that'll be taken by Shaw.
Yeah, it's no sure thing. As you look at Jason Garcia, the Rule 5 draft choice by the Orioles. But there's no sure thing that even the Yankees, they don't guarantee that they're going to be in the postseason.
No, not at all.
No. I mean, it's just enough clubs, and you just obviously if you play well and you take care of business, but if you falter, there are enough clubs that if they get hot and they play each other.
Yankees trailing Toronto in the division by 3. Yankees have the first wild card spot. Yankees have won 79. Houston has won 77 now that they've dropped out of the lead in the division lead with Texas beating them again last night. Houston now becomes the second wild card team. 77 wins. But then you got Minnesota, Angels, Cleveland, Baltimore. looking to try and move into one of those spots.
Yeah, keep reading that Minnesota has the easiest schedule, but that only applies if you're playing well.
Yes, exactly right. And they are at home.
They're a great home team.
Yeah.
And they were a great road team when they came here. I mean, that changed the Orioles' fortunes this year when they came in and won a 4-game series.
3-ball, 2-strike count, and that's going to miss inside. So Rondon delivers a walk, and that's a leadoff walk here in the 5th inning to Shaw. Orioles begin the final week of the regular season, 4 against the Jays, starting Monday, September 28th. On Wednesday, you're going to receive that September 30, the Miguel Gonzalez Mariachi T-shirt. And don't miss out, final T-shirt giveaway. You can enjoy the ballpark and a great gift to take home with you. Tickets, Orioles.com, or 888-848-BIRD. Miguel throwing again today, feels good, hoping to get back to be able to make a start for the Orioles. Ball poked in the air to Parra. They make a running catch, dropped it, transferring, no, safe. They're going to get an out at second base. It is a force out at second base as the first base umpire, Brian Knight, ruled he did not have possession, but by then Shaw had gone back to the bag.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously a transfer. So he did have a possession, but the umpire says not. And I mean, that ball's in his glove, what, 2-3 seconds?
Yeah.
And then I guess he's saying that basically you have to control it coming out of the glove, which he doesn't. But again, because of the possibility of getting doubled up, Shaw going back to first. So now you have speed at first with Castillo.
Wow. Well, Castillo on at first base on the out recorded at second. 9-6 on the putout at second base. Probably a fielder's choice. I think there wouldn't be any error there.
Nope. Got an out.
And that one goes all the way to the backstop off the top of the glove of Caleb Joseph, and down to second base goes Castillo. Not sure what happened here.
I don't think he crossed him up, because if he did, Caleb would be out there. But the ball's definitely up in the zone, and checking the glove to see if he broke some leather. The ball just takes off, and again, he's throwing 93 to 95, 6. A lot of movement.
Pass ball. And a breaking ball cuts in, and a 1-ball, 2-strike count on Swihart. He has doubled and scored, 1 for 2.
Well, Jorge does have good stuff, and I think it's fair to say it came out picked up on waivers on the 10th of May, Colorado, and again, he's got a plus arm. Very much like Michael Gibbons, still has to make good pitches, and there's another one.
Yeah. Kept it down and in, foul tipped into the mitt, and he's out of there.
Yeah, bottom dropped out of that slider. So we mentioned hadn't pitched in 9 days, so maybe the command not what he wants, but this certainly is. It's kind of breaking ball you want. You stay on top of it, fingers stay on top, you pull down, that slider gets good tilt. Double play strikeout pitch.
2 away. Runner remains at second base. Red Sox getting all the chances to score runs here in this ball game. They are 4 for 7 already with runners in scoring position. That's one more hit with a runner in scoring position than they had in the first 2 games combined.
And you could see Jackie Bradley, obviously, when you're one. Well, he did walk the first time, so he's 1 for his last 25, and he's having some good swings, but missing. And again, when he was going 4 for 4, 5 for 6 in one game, that wasn't the case.
And a swing and a miss on another one.
See, that's great velocity, great movement, great location, and that's going to work at any level. Well, we haven't seen a lot of those. And when you get it in the middle of the plate tonight, they haven't missed it.
Still having a good September, hitting .261 with a couple of home runs in September, despite the current drought he's in. 0-2 count. Runner at second base, and the pitch will be outside. Rondon trying to get him to chase one, and he wouldn't go. Castillo with the fielder's choice on at second, moved up in the pass ball, and a 1-ball, 2-strike count on Jackie Bradley Jr. 1-2 delivery to him. Ground ball to first, and that will be foul. Runner heads back to second base. Red Sox jumping out with the home run Ortiz in the second. 3 runs, 3 hits in the third. 5 runs, 5 hits in the fourth inning. 2 home runs Pedroia. 5 RBIs already in the ball game. 1 ball, 2 strike pitch, and it will miss inside.
Yeah, you start looking at some of the road trips and games that the Red Sox have played. They play the Phillies up in Boston 7-9-6. Then they play Toronto 11. They lose. Then they come back with 10. Go down to Tampa Bay. They win 10-4, and then in 13 innings 2-0. So they can put some runs on the board, and you can see that tonight.
2-2 delivery is going to miss outside.
And then,
so a 3-2 count.
And then Gary, then you see they come in here, and your number 1 draft choice, Kevin Gausman, shuts the door. Got to be very happy about that. Because you're building for the future, and Kevin only 24.
3-2. Bradley waiting on it, and a swing and a miss. Rondon does get the out. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left on. 9-0 Boston.
Mike Wright trying to get into the 6th inning. Hadn't done it in the last 6 innings. David Ortiz makes it 1-0, 5-0-1 for him, and then the hanging slider to Pedroia will be one of his 2 home runs tonight. Again, later on against Rondon, gets a high fastball and then hits it high and deep into left field. So apparently the Red Sox don't like to lose 2 in a row to the Orioles. Those are your Geico game highlights. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote.
Henry Owens with a lot of runs to work with. Jonathan Scope leading it off, grounded out. Pierce and then Parra will be due up. And there's that off-speed pitch again, getting an Oriole out in front. And a 1 ball, 1 strike count on Scope. Orioles 7 straight wins here at home against Boston. Red Sox trying to end that streak. Orioles have won 9 of the last 10 overall against the Red Sox. Already have won the season series. They're 11-4. Mike Lovallo continues on. Torey Lovallo rather continues on managing. That ball down the line will fall in for a base hit. Gets by Holt, but not very far. So a leadoff single for the Orioles here in the 5th inning as Scope is on.
Yeah, they need to have a big inning, and that's what the Red Sox have done. Can't do it all at once, but you can certainly get Owens out of the game. And that hasn't been easy because he's been good.
3 innings in a row they've had the leadoff man on against him, but have not been able to push anything across.
Well, my experience was when the first guy gets on and then you have a quality at bat, it doesn't always mean a base hit. Charlie Lau, one of my former teammates when I came up, but went on to be one of the great hitting instructors, said the area of maximum vulnerability, and that was usually to the right side. Use the whole field. Advance runners, get them over. We even saw that when Holt led off early on, and then, or actually Bradley, and then Holt drove him in the third, a lead-off walk. But it's what happens afterwards sometimes. Do you pop up? Do you hit a double play ball? Do you advance the runner? And if you use the whole field, a lot of times you just have a quality at bat, may not get a hit, but you get Schoop into scoring position.
Pierce flied out to center his first time up. He'll foul it back. He's got so much room down the right field line you can hardly see the right fielder. They've got Holt moved, all the way over. Look at the space between Holt and the foul line and right.
Well, that's your spray charts, and when you have this kind of defense, even in the infield, it's a pull defense. Expect him to pull the ball.
0-2 delivery on the way. Breaking ball. That's a wild pitch. That'll move Schoop down to second base.
Well, that ought to be. I don't know what they'll score it. If it bounces, it's automatic. But that's a ball that Swihart should have blocked or even caught. I'm not even sure it bounced till he missed it. Big curveball. You got good stuff when your catcher can't even handle it.
Henry Owens backs off, takes a look back. Pedroia's going to hold the runner. Wild pitch, the call. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Pierce again on the off-speed pitch, cues it. Orioles have had a number of balls that have been not only not barreled up, but have almost hit the end of the bat. And those off-speed pitches coming in. And a 1 ball, 2 strike count on Steve.
Well, it's been about a 19 mile per hour difference between his slowest pitch at 71 and fastball that's maybe topped out at 90.
Runner off second, Schoop, 1-2 delivery. Pierce will put it in the air right where he was playing. Scouting report was right on the money. Holt. Runner will tag. Schoop moves over to third base. Pierce is retired. 1 down. For every Orioles walk, Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield contributes $50 to the March of Dimes. 364 walks, $18,200. Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. Powers had a base hit. 1 down, RBI chance for Parra. Orioles getting their first opportunity with a runner at third. They had not moved a runner to second before this inning.
Yeah, and they're way back. So any ground ball will get a run in.
Slices that one the other way, foul.
Well, they give Gerardo the bunt. Look how deep they are on the right side. I mean, now he will bunt, and we've seen him bunt, but it's usually to third base. Then you just kind of drag bunt. No way that they're going to be able to throw him out. They're looking for base runners.
Fastball at 90.
Remember when you were a kid and you?
No.
Well, vaguely. Remember? Well, maybe we know somebody that will remember when you were a kid. But remember back in the day when you used to just play around and you'd always try bunt. If they played you back, you'd try to bunt, or you'd hit the ball the other way if they were playing. Some players do that, but not as often.
Well, I grew up with Ted Williams as a hero, so I didn't bunt.
No, well, no. You
just read what Ted said. You don't bunt. You hit. You hit over the shift, under it, around it.
Ted didn't need to bunt.
Ted didn't need to bunt, right? Well, he's your hero, then you don't need to bunt.
How about Johnny Pesky with 3 straight years at 200?
Runner not going. Oh, and nice play. A little bobble initially, but it came back to him, and Schoop has to stay at third base.
Yeah, good pitch up and in. But Johnny Pesky, when he came to the Red Sox, he hit early in the lineup. He had, his first 3 hits, 200 hits. I would imagine if you played way back, he might have dropped one down. And there's. Wow. Right up that rather long arm. And then he snares it.
And has got 2 down. Here's J.J. Hardy hit into a double play his first time up. So now 2 down. And a runner at third base. JJ will take it up and in. Hilliel Cutler wrote a real nice story. It's a Major League Baseball. AZ Central is the site about J.J. Hardy and the great tennis fan that he is. When the Orioles in New York, he had a chance to go to the U.S. Open, took full advantage of it. J.J. grew up in a family where his dad, Mark, is a tennis pro at La Paloma Country Club in Tucson, and his mom is a top amateur golfer. So J.J. became a tennis fan very early and got an opportunity and was real happy about it to go to the U.S. Open in New York City. Pitch taken inside for a ball. He really likes and knows tennis.
Well, one of my great days was our mutual friend who's passed away, Frank Cashin, general manager here, went up to the Mets. He said, I know you like tennis because we used to play doubles together, and I went on Super Saturday in the Doubleday box. One of the more glorious days and glorious days of tennis ever.
2-1 delivery will be put up in the air to center. Bradley. And he's got it, and that will do it. So no runs on one hit, no errors, and a base runner left on at third. Still a 9-0 Red Sox lead. In 2012, the Orioles on this date assured their first winning season since 1997. 9-5 win over Oakland did it. And on this date in 1972, Phillies rookie third baseman Mike Schmidt, his first career home run, one of 548. There's the Hall of Fame pack that he has up. Michael Jack Schmidt, as a great Philadelphia broadcaster used to say. Red Sox have a 9-0 lead here.
So Jason Garcia comes in, as we mentioned, Rule 5. He was actually pitching for the Red Sox, picked by Houston in the Rule 5, which means you have to stay on the roster, 90 days, at least over the course of the baseball season. You can get him for $50,000. The Orioles get him. Made the club out of spring training, had the shoulder problems, was on the disabled list, and now finishing out the year. The numbers have gotten a lot better. The slider's gotten better, command's gotten better. So again, we see a young pitcher that has a chance to show the Orioles that he belongs in the big leagues.
Rondon worked a couple of innings, 3 runs, 3 hits, a walk, 2 strikeouts, home run hit by Pedroia. Devin Marrero an RBI base hit in the 4th inning when the Red Sox sent 8 to the plate. He will foul that one back. RBIs, Holt's got a couple in the game. Pedroia's got 5. And then Marrero 1. And Garcia. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Last pitched against KC on the 12th. Inning and 2/3, gave nothing up. He'll give up a base hit here. Sharp single into left field. No Oriole pitchers having much luck against this Red Sox lineup. Orioles close out the regular season with Fan Appreciation Weekend. The Yankees starting Friday, October 2. Fireworks presented by John Hopkins on Friday. Orioles knit bomber hats, first 20,000 15 and over Saturday. Steve Pierce Fans Choice bobbleheads presented by AT&T First 25,000 15 and over on Sunday. Tickets 888-848-BIRD. Holt will take the pitch for a strike. 10 hits now for the Red Sox.
Yeah, the Red Sox with 9 runs and 10 hits are having fireworks night here. But they are not missing pitches.
Nope. 2 RBI base hits, 2 runs scored, 2 for 3 for Holt in the ball game. Garcia, long look over. And the pitch will be taken up high for a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Orioles' chance at a sweep diminished early in this ball game. Not done. Just a very tough road to get back into this one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Davis holding at first base. That's going to be away.
Yeah, the first time I ever heard, I mean, I knew how important pitching was because I pitched on some great staffs, but what Jim Leland back in when he was the Marlin manager said momentum is as good as your starter the next day. Buck Showalter certainly talks about that. It's pretty much what this game has been about.
Yep.
You got to give your team a chance to think they're going to have a chance to win.
Shallow center field. Jones has to back up a little bit on that one. Holt retired.
Yeah, the whole game changes when you don't want your guys out of there physically, mentally, even emotionally in big innings. The Red Sox had a 5-run inning, 3 home runs already, and it just changes the whole dynamic of trying to win.
Sandoval coming up, batting second, 3 fly ball outs, so he's had 3 hits and 12 at bats in this 3-game set. Still hitting .300 against the Orioles this year. 9 RBIs against the O's. Runner on at first and 1 out. Pablo Sandoval will take the pitch, bounces off the plate, scooped up by Caleb Joseph.
Yeah, .293 lifetime batting average, and we see that all the time. We go, geez, how's he only hitting under .250? Because he has good at bats against the Orioles, as you mentioned, Gary.
1-0 pitch to him. Sandoval, big cut on that one. 83 on it, and he was out in front. 1 ball, 1 strike count.
And because of his slashing type of swing, you never know where he's going to hit it. Well, get home late at night when he was playing with the Giants, he hit balls right about letter high out of the ballpark.
I don't think he knows where it's going to go either. He's just trying to hit the ball hard. Joseph's going to go out now to talk with Garcia.
That might be. I don't think they're going to be running when we're down 9-0.
No.
So let's focus. And again, I mean, this is really a second. Caleb, it's only a second year in the big leagues, but he's talking to a youngster as far as experience. And
he was smiling there. Yeah. Did you see that? 1 ball, 1 strike count. One down here in the 6th inning. And that one's going to be a little bit inside and low. Sandoval backing away.
I think Caleb Joseph he'd come into the kind of one of those out there personalities. Remember the game when nobody was allowed to come? He was going down the right field line, pretending, signing autographs before the game.
It was great. He has a great sense of humor.
He really does.
All catchers need to have great senses of humor.
Well, tonight is kind of an off night. He has yet to get hit in the mask.
Now you've done it.
Well, I mean, it happens 2-3 times a night, it seems, when he catches.
3-1 count. Sandoval takes it and he's on. Garcia surrenders the walk, 2 on and 1 down. Our PNC minor league report.
Oh, there you go. We talked about it. So a long series. There you go. 7 out of the 9 starters have scored for the Bay Sox. 8-2 lead. And if you're a Red Sox fan, Yaz, the grandson of Carl Yastrzemski,
trying to even up that series in game number 2. The Reading Fighting Phils,
who apparently, in talking to some of the scouts, have a very, very, very good ball club.
Buck Showalter was saying that today, so they really have some talent.
Well, they got a lot of players for Cole Hamels.
Yeah.
And they can play. And that's
inside. Pedroia's had 2 home runs, 5 RBI day. He has had a 3 home run day ball game in his career. Last time was against Colorado back in 2010 that he hit 3 home runs. This ties his career high in RBIs in a game, 5. He's now done it 6 times. 1-1 pitch on the way. Out in front, fouls it off. 1-2.
Yeah, the last couple of years for Dustin, it's been the wrist problems, and one year the ankle. So the last probably 3-4 years, health has been a problem. Does play the game hard, diving, scrapping.
1-2 count on him. Runners at first and second. Marrero the lead runner. Sandoval at first. And another one that'll be chopped foul at the plate. And Pedroia holds the count at 1-2. The runners go back. He'll turn, well, he is 32 years old now. And Pedroia in his 9th year of Major League service. 1-2. Pitch on the way. Pedroia to the hole. Scope will get there and makes the running throw to get Pedroia. Runners move up, but play by Jonathan Scope will save a run for the moment. Ranged over to get it. Now second and third for Ortiz. Ortiz, the home run in the second inning, is 35th. He is singled and grounded out. Well, the DH with that home run flurry that he is on right now, moving into the top 10 in the American League. He started the day 8th. He's now tied with Bautista and Pujols with 35 home runs. First pitch is popped up. Machado is back, and he's got it. So that will do it here in the 6th inning. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. 2 are left on base. 9-0 Boston. The Maryland Fire Chiefs and Maryland State Firemen's Associations. Email mdfirevolunteer@gmail.com to volunteer with your local fire, rescue, and EMS. And by your local Mercedes dealership. With Jim Palmer, I'm Gary Thorne. Camden Yards, the site. Red Sox trying to avoid the sweep. Doing a pretty good job of it so far. 9-10-0 for the Red Sox. 0-3-0 for the Orioles. Orioles have had singles picked up by Reimold, Parra, and Jonathan Scope. They've had a runner to second, same runner to third, only one in the ball game to get that far. That was Scope in the 5th inning, and that's where he was stranded. Caleb Joseph will lead it off. Joseph lined out his first time up. Boston hitters in the 6th inning going through their 4th at bat. Joseph in the 6th inning, his 2nd.
That's what good pitching does. And
0-1 pitch to him down low. Orioles head to Tampa. The Rays are playing home against the Yankees tonight. Yankees have a 1-0 lead in the 6th inning of that ball game. Severino, their youngster right-hander, against Chris Archer in the ball game tonight.
That's the way you got to beat Archer.
Yankee pitchers have struggled. 5.18 ERA. Steve Johnson in the bullpen for the Orioles. Yankee pitchers last 8 over 5 for their earned run average. Their bullpen now has thrown the 2nd most innings to the Rays. Innings pitched by the bullpen. 1-2 delivery on the way, and that'll be fouled off.
Yeah, you hope you can get to the barn, and we saw that last year. Of course, they had, what, 4 of their 5 starters. They were out over 500, but exhaustion when you get into late September. Especially the back end of your bullpen with Betances and Andrew Miller.
1-2 the count on Caleb. Reinmold to follow. Into the screen and foul.
Yeah, all you got to do is kind of look and see Luis Severino pitch one time, and you realize when you got the trading deadline when everybody wanted him, he's got a really good arm. Good slider, 95, 6, 7 miles per hour, and throws strikes.
Left-handers 1-2 delivery on the way, and got a hold of it but pulls it foul.
Yeah, waited and waited and waited and couldn't wait long enough.
Toronto's rocking on Atlanta tonight. Boy, the Braves, they can't wait for this season to end. It has been a real struggle. Toronto up 7-1.
How about the Texas score?
6-0. Texas over Houston. That ball's going to be a base hit into left center field. Caleb Joseph on. Ironic, the Orioles get a leadoff man on in this game, but it ends there. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Orioles may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. Forever loyal right there.
Oh, she's rooting for a big inning.
Yep.
And a big inning will get to the bullpen. And they got 12 of them out there.
Reimold goes after the first pitch, fouls it back, base hit and a strikeout.
Actually make it 11 because Tazawa apparently has been shut down for the year.
Runner on at first, Joseph. 4 innings in a row, leadoff man on for the Orioles. That usually leads to a run, but not so yet. 0-2.
Well, the problem is when your starter doesn't pitch the way he wanted to, 1 run doesn't do it, so you don't play for 1 run. Play for the big inning. A lot of times that's hard to do. Certainly not as much pressure on Henry Owens. If the game isn't as close as the Orioles wanted it to be.
0-2 delivery on the way. Well, it's not new for Owens here in the beginning of his career, getting the leadoff man, and that's a big deal for starters. He's not been able to do it. The leadoff hitter now has been on 20 out of 45 times this season against Henry Owens. 1-2 delivery, and that's going to miss inside. You generally want to get about 7. You want to get 70% if you can of leadoff batters out. That usually gives you a pretty good chance.
Yeah, somebody told me that number years ago, even when I was pitching, about almost 48 to 49%. First guy gets on, he scores, goes to 15 if he doesn't. So that was pretty significant, especially if you're trying to not give up a whole lot of runs.
Yeah. 2 ball, 2 strike count. Reimold battling here to get an inning going for the Orioles with that leadoff man on, Caleb Joseph.
I would think that number would be down for the Orioles because they hit so many home runs. That's how they rely. They don't hit behind the runners and use the field as much as other teams.
Struck him out on a pitch away.
Yeah, really good changeup. Really didn't get a whole lot to hit, and then he finishes you off. And again, this is one of the reasons Caleb Joseph gets on, and then he strikes out Nolan Ryan on a really good changeup.
4 strikeouts in the ball game for Henry Owens.
You can see the location and the movement and the apparently the perception of the arm. Nolan thought it was a fastball and it wasn't.
Here is Manny Machado hitting .269 off lefties this year. 0 for 2 in the ball game. Manny will take the pitch outside for a ball. Manny has actually upped his average against lefties. He hit .240 against them last year. .269 right now. Runner off first, 1-0 delivery down to third. He's got a base hit. Joseph at second will stay there. Castillo will get it in. Well, the Orioles have 2 on and 1 down. The Orioles proud to support the 2015 Ride to Conquer Cancer 2-day 150-mile cycling event throughout the capital region. It will benefit research at Johns Hopkins Kimmel Cancer Center, Sibley Memorial, Suburban and Howard County General Hospitals. It'll take place September 19 and 20 starting at RFK Stadium. To donate, go to ridetoVictory.org. Two on, 1 away. Chris Davis. He has grounded out, struck out. Could not hold up on the first pitch. Chris, coming into today's play, is tied for second in game-winning RBIs in the American League, and he is first in go-ahead RBIs late in tight ball games. 7th inning on, where the differential is 3 or fewer runs. He's got more go-ahead RBIs in those situations than anyone else. He's had clutch hits for the Orioles this year in both those categories. That one in the air to center field. He had to supply his own power. Back at the wall and just enough room. Bradley hauls it in. The runners will tag and move up, and Davis missed one by just that much.
Yeah, off the bat you thought it might have enough. Of course, Bradley can really play the outfield. He made it look routine because he gets back and moves about as quickly as anybody really in the major leagues. I mean, high curve ball, you think might have enough. Very much like the one Ortiz hit it, but Ortiz goes out.
So again, there are 2 down. And again, Owens trying to get out of an inning where the leadoff man reached. 2 in scoring position here in the 6th inning, and Adam Jones, who has struck out, grounded out, will give it a whirl. Defense straight up against Adam. And the pitch will be away for a ball. Well, the Orioles a chance. Get that goose egg off the board here in the 6th inning.
And pretty efficient. That was the 89th pitch Henry Owens has thrown, and also the most velocity.
.1-0 delivery on the way. Jones at 80 miles an hour.
And then backs it up with a perfectly thrown changeup.
He has really pitched in this ball game. And at the age of 23 to be able to do that's pretty impressive. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Base hit here, scores 2. 1-1 delivery by Owens down to third and hit him.
In foul
territory, which is why you go there, Caleb Joseph.
And I mean, that ball was hit real hard to get out of the way. Somewhere on the right thigh. Ooh, maybe down by the knee. Wow.
It's not enough that you catch and take foul balls off your mask at 101 miles an hour. Now your own teammates got to hit you when you're on base at third. Jones steps back in, 1-2. Owens and the 1-2 delivery. Adam Jones again out in front. Bobby Dickerson this time. Orioles might want to clear the left side here. Tried to wipe out his catcher and his third base coach.
Well, he just keeps throwing breaking balls that sweep off the inside corner, and Adams just turning on him.
Caleb Joseph down there going, I know I should get a little bigger lead, but
maybe take the circle route.
1-2 delivery on the way, and a ground ball down there again. Sandoval. And that will retire the side. So Owens keeps working with these leadoff men on base. The Orioles still have not pushed one across. 9-0. This ball game against Mike Wright. Disappointing night, Jim Palmer, for Mike, who really wanted to get a good start on.
Oh, he really, he had a good side. Tried to work on his fastball command. I thought early he actually, to the lefties, did a better job, and then a series of pitches in the middle of the plate. And if you've been following the Red Sox as we have, you can't do that. They swing the bat even with Betts and Bogart taking the night off. So just not the quality of the pitches, and I think that's the big difference.
And Owen shows us what pitching can be like for a youngster who's learned how to do this, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he pitched extremely well. Scott Kulbach, who's the Oriole hitting instructor, they look at all the film. He said he can be tough. And he can be tough because he can change speeds. And again, he's 6'6", and arms and legs. So they looks like they maybe would get to him. But again, anytime you get a 9-0 lead, it makes it a lot easier. So Steve Johnson will come on, who spent the majority of the year down at AAA Norfolk and really pitched well, especially since the All-Star break. No chance to come in and do what he's capable of doing.
Travis Shaw, first batter he will face, 0 for 2 and a walk in the game. 1 ball, 1 strike delivery to him. A swing and a miss. Shaw, Castillo, and Swihart due up. We're in the 7th inning. 9 runs, 10 hits for the Red Sox. No runs, 5 hits for the Orioles. Each team has left 4 on. There's Owens, who's walked none and struck out 4. Up in the air, right field, Parra. He's got it. Shaw is retired. Help Maryland Governor Larry Hogan and the Orioles in their fight against pediatric cancer and save 50% on tickets to each game in the upcoming Blue Jays series. Go to Orioles.com/charity and help raise funds for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society and the Ronald McDonald House Charities. Again, Orioles.com/charity. Castillo, a base hit, a run scored. He is 1 for 3 in the ball game. He will go after the first pitch delivered to him and foul it off for a strike. Johnson's 0-1 delivery. Another one to right field. Parra. 2 down. Steve appearing in his 4th game, only 3 innings to work, 4 runs, 7 hits in those ball games. Came up when the rosters were expanded on September 1st. Last outing against KC. Gave up 3 runs, 3 hits. Inning pitched. And
Yeah, gave up
home
a
run
home
against
run.
them.
Yeah, that's.
Two down here and a strike taken.
Yeah, normally, he'll top out at 89, 90, but they call him Stevie Wonder when he came up 3 years ago and went 4-0. He just. And there's a big slow curveball at 63. Wow, that's getting up there with one of the. It's almost an ephus curveball.
That is. It's hard to get a pitch to the plate on a plane at 63. You almost have to loop it.
Somewhat arcs.
And that one will be taken down low. 2-1 strike count. Swihart a double. He's had 1 hit, 7 at bats in this series. 2-1 pitch on the way to him will be a strike. Holtz had 2 RBIs. Pedroias had 5 with 2 home runs. And Marrero, an RBI, batting in the 9th spot. The Orioles have not been able to push one across. Here's the 2-2 delivery. Had to go down to get that. That'll be handled in left by Pierce. 7th inning stretch time here at Camden Yards, where the Red Sox, looking to avoid a sweep, have the 9-0 lead. Page, some of our favorite nicknames around the game. Vince Coleman was called Vincent Van Gogh because he was an artist at stealing bases, played with the St. Louis Cardinals, and he could do it. That's what we were talking about earlier. Harry Simmons, bucket foot L. He always had a stride towards third base. It was good enough, though, for a .344 career batting average. Took him all the way to the Hall of Fame, inducted in 1953. Played with the Philadelphia A's as a left fielder. Bucket foot L.
Yeah, he drove in 157 one year, and the next year it goes, that wasn't enough. I think I'll go to 165. So the bucket, apparently the bucket foot or feeding worked.
That ball reached for by Jonathan Scope, and a nice running play made by Castillo.
Well, they do have a fleet outfield.
Doug Showalter praised them before the game today, saying this is one of the best outfields that we have faced. Either the one that was in yesterday or the one that's in today.
Yeah, normally Brock Holt, as we mentioned, he's played 7 positions. So he's mostly an infielder, but usually you see Betts out there. And then, of course, Bradley can play anywhere.
So 1 away. Here is Pierce. 0 for 2, couple of fly ball outs. Owens has gone the distance in the ball game. He has not walked anybody. He has struck out 4 in his major league starts. 8 innings in a win against KC, which he gave up only 2 runs on 4 hits in those 8 innings, his longest outing.
Yeah, the amazing thing is just the disparity between when he pitches at Fenway and when he pitches on the road. The ERA and all the home runs, 6 of them are when he pitches up at Fenway Park. And
it's the ground at a short this time. Marrero. 2 down, 7th inning.
Yeah, you look at the numbers, and of course you look at command, and he's had a couple of games. His last game, and of course it was Toronto, but got a no decision, walk 4. He's done that 3 times, but the walk total has come down. I thought you really touched on it when you said he has pitched. And while he has done that, they've gotten him 9 runs, and he did it early.
Big sweeping curveball. McFarland in the bullpen for the Orioles. Parra base hit, 1 for 2 in the ball game. And that's going to miss down low. One delivery by the left-hander, and a good pitch and not a good swing, and a 1-ball 2-strike count.
Yeah, the Orioles the last time Gerardo was up, and look at his pitch count, very easy. This is the way he got him to hit a ground ball with the runner at third and less than 2 outs. Just jammed him, and goes away. And
sweeping pitch outside 2-2.
Made it look easy in the sense that even when the Orioles got the leadoff guy in 4 straight years, the Orioles just can't sustain any offense against him.
2-2 delivery on the way, in the air to center. Bradley. And 3 up and 3 down. 7 complete here at Camden Yards. It's the Red Sox shutting out the Orioles 9-0. You by Miller Lite.
Well, Dustin Pedroia, as we mentioned, averaged just above or below 300. So the first home run on a hanging slider and then a high fastball. And of course, that kind of really cemented part of the 5-run inning. Drives in 5 runs. So T.J. McFarland comes on. Sinker baller, slider, changeup pitcher. And been pitching pretty well, but the grand slam, the Kansas City series, kind of changed the numbers, skews them. You can see right-hander actually hitting him very well, and then very efficient against lefties. And a ground ball pitcher. They only get the ball in the air 38% of the time.
So the Orioles, lots of changes. Junior Lakes come in for Jones in center. Dario Alvarez in right for Parra. Infield, Paredes will come in for Manny Machado. Giannis will play at short for Hardy. Flaherty for Scope at second. Christian Walker at first for Davis. And Clevenger in for Caleb Joseph catching. So only Steve Pearson, left field, remains in from the lineup. The Orioles down 9-0 and going to the 8th inning.
Yeah, Clevenger's throw after the 9-up warm-ups, you throw through, and he ended up hitting Ryan Flaherty right in the shin. Ball went out in the right field. So welcome to the lineup, Ryan.
Yeah. Jackie Bradley Jr. has walked, scored, and struck out twice. For the Orioles, Wright, the starter, 6 runs, 6 hits, and 3. Rondon, 3 runs, 3 hits, and 2. Garcia, an inning, a walk. Steve Johnson, an inning, 0s. And now McFarland. And a chopper. Clevenger, the out. Let's take a look at what we got for you tonight. Promised earlier in the game, we selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to O's Couch Cam. You might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Folks in the seats. Jake Arrieta going after his 20th win. Chicago leads 2-0, 6th inning. Bryant's gone 3 for 3. They're a great young player. The Cubs have that lead. Arrieta's given up nothing. 3 hits in 5 2/3 innings against Burnett. 2 runs, 8 hits in 5 1/3. Marrero up. 2 singles, has grounded out. A run scored and an RBI from the 9 spot. Productive for the Red Sox tonight.
Yeah, that could be maybe a precursor to the wild card game.
Yes. So Arrieta leading the charge for the Cubs. Cubs and the Pirates right now would be the wild card game if neither of them can overtake the Cardinals. 1-1 pitch, and that's going to be a base hit into right. 3-hit ball game. Marrero.
Yeah, kind of likes the ball up and out over the plate, and that's where he's gotten it. Some really nice swings.
Hit number 11 for the Red Sox. McFarland now will face the top of the order. Holtz also had 2 hits. He's 2 for 4.
And then you bring in the lefty, and he's hitting .299 against left-handed pitching.
Brock Holt, 8th inning. 1 on, 1 down. And the pitch is a strike on the outside corner. DJ McFarland, a lot of work this season for the Orioles. Has to come on and pitch more than an inning a number of times. 24th appearance, 31 innings worked. Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike count. One and 1, 1 out. Runner at first not going anywhere. Marrero, and they're not holding him. Another chopper. This time McFarland picks it up and got him. Close play.
Well, you see why Brock Holt's such a tough out. I mean, even a little roller in front of the plate, he almost beats out. And
they may challenge.
Yeah, I think they're going to look at it. And as we mentioned, he can play 7 different positions. He hits lefties. He can steal bases. And then again, what you think is routine, it isn't because of the speed factor. And they're up by 9.
Yeah, they're going to challenge. So the first base umpire involved,
that's
Brian
a base
Knight,
hit, yeah.
And the crew chief, Bill Miller. To the naked eye, it looked like he'd beat it out. Sometimes the naked eye, unless you're an umpire, is wrong.
Well, you mentioned the other night, what, 50% of the calls are overturned
of the manager challenges.
Yeah, exactly. So it tells you that it's difficult to umpire.
Yeah. You got to do this for the player too. If you're Torey Lovallo, I mean, you got a guy who's looking for a base hit. Holt would get his 3rd hit of the ball game.
Take a look right here, and TJ gets to it quickly, and boy, bang bang.
Here's the one that should tell us.
I don't know. It's
that should be, I would think, would be one where there's not enough to overturn the call on the field. That's pretty close.
Because every time you say the tie is supposed to go to the runner, there is nothing in the rule book that says that.
No.
But really, I guess if you're an umpire, how do you determine if the ball and the foot get there at the same time? It just seems like, even though it may not be in the rule book, the close plays seem to go to the runners. So, yeah,
I think he's out. That was a good call.
Well, I think that they both get at the same time. Maybe right. Maybe by a smidgen.
Well, that's the purpose of the rule, of course, in that if you can't really tell, then the call on the field stands.
Right. I mean, if there's nothing to overturn it, it's the way it is.
Taking a long time in New York on this one.
It didn't look like it was definitive. And
McFarland will use the time to warm up a little bit. 22,642 tonight. 22,642 the attendance for Game 3, and he's out.
Yeah, nothing to change. And boy, did he make it close by hustling, though.
Runner moves down to second base. Marrero with 2 down. Sandoval coming up.
And they're going to pinch hit with Alan Craig. He came over with Joe Kelly last year from the Cardinals. And it has been a struggle. He's now won for his last 20. And this guy, when he was with the Cardinals, back-to-back years, the best hitter in the National League with runners in scoring position.
Craig up, runner at second base, goes after the first one and will foul it back. 4 for 10 Boston, runners in scoring position in this ball game. Craig not getting many at bats. 14 so far in September. He's had 1 hit. 0-1 count. Marrero at second base with a 1-out single. And there are 2 down. McFarland's 0-1 pitch to him in the air to right center field. Jones slightly trips. That's going to fall in. It'll go to the wall. It will score a run. Craig will go to second. He's got a double and a pinch hit RBI.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you asked Derek Jeter, who hit well over 300, and then the same with runners in scoring position. How do you do it? He said nothing changes. Still look for a good pitch to hit. This is what he does, and then he hits it right up the gap. And it's going to slice away from Adam Jones, so Jonesy no chance to run it down.
So Craig gets it done as a pinch hitter. Is just his 3rd RBI. How about that? 3 RBIs. 2 for 10 as a pinch hitter. As that got away from Lake. I'm sorry, Junior Lake in center. And the pitch will be taken away. Pedroia looking to add to his night.
I was trying to see, and I don't think he's ever hit 3 home runs in a game.
He has.
He has, really?
Yeah. He's got 2 in this one. 5 RBIs. 2 for 4. 3 home runs in a ball game is high. 1-0 delivery on the way, will be taken down low. Boy, you look at Craig's numbers. Played in just 31 games, 67 at bats.
Well, you could see him running when he didn't play in the World Series when the Cardinals played the Red Sox 2013 because he had a foot injury.
Outside corner strike by McFarland. 2-1 on Pedroia. Did the 4th run off the Oriole bullpen. Two-one delivery. Pedroia had to wait and wait and wait.
Yep. Well, you really have to make quality pitches, and when you hang a curveball, and that's what that was, or slurve, whatever. I mean, he jumps off his feet to try to hit it. And he's not the only Red Sox that has done that tonight.
Aggressive and successful. 10 runs on 12 hits for Boston. 2-2 delivery by McFarland. Pedroia nubs it, foul.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the highlights when the Rangers beat Houston last night, and there is Henry Owens, who's got the shutout going into the 8th. And Beltre got 4 hits. First one was a ground ball up the middle. The next one was a ground ball over the bag. And then he hit a couple, actually got the game winner. Or actually, Moreland got the game winner, but he tied it up with a line drive. So Pedroia is that type of hitter. He can spray it. He can hit for power. And you just don't know what part of the ballpark he's going to place the ball.
2-2 will miss outside. Something wrong with this picture. The Orioles travel to Tampa, play tomorrow night. The Red Sox stay in Baltimore.
Well, that score earns it. They can stay wherever they want tonight.
They stay here and go to Toronto tomorrow because they have a day off.
Well, it's like the old days.
Yep. Usually you travel on the night, take the day off in the city you're going to play in. Red Sox not doing that. 3-2 delivery on the way, and he's on with a walk. Fourth walk surrendered by Oriole pitchers in the ball game. A run in here in the 8th inning. Runners now at first and second. Pedroia is going to come out of the ball game. Leon will come on to run. Or Leon's going to hit, sorry.
Yeah, they do get a pitch runner, though. Yeah, Josh Rutledge, who played second base on Monday night. Sandy Leon, a switch hitting catcher.
Our spring training game continues. Runners on at first and second, 2 down. And the pitch will be taken outside by Leon. Switch hitter. Very little opportunities. Right-handed, 1 for 26. Left-handed, 16 for 70. Overall, a 177 average, 3 RBI. 1-0 count, 2-1. Runners off first and second base. 1-0 pitch will be taken down low for a ball.
Yeah, Sandy Leon played with Washington last year, and then when you had the injuries, you had Christian Vasquez, who looked like he might be the regular catcher. He had the Tommy John surgery. Then Hannigan broke his hand, so Leon got to play early on.
Farland's pitch is there for a strike. About travel for the Red Sox. They went to Harvard University and had studies done, and Harvard presented them with a proposal on what they should do as far as travel is concerned. They've done some oddball things this year in that regard. Late night games like Sunday night games, even though they play the next night, they don't travel till the next day. McFarland knocks it down, makes the play over to first base, and records the out. Another run in on a couple of hits to our left on base. Lead extended to 10-0. Three-game set in Tampa. Chris Tillman on the mound against Matt Moore. Coverage Matson 2, 6:30 O's Extra. Presented by Jeep. Followed by a game coverage at 7. All the access you need right here on Matson. It is a 4-game series in Tampa.
Yeah, so the Rays, they're going to pitch. Second in the American League in pitching. A little bit under 500. They don't score a lot of runs. Logan Forsythe certainly not part of that. Having a great September. And then again, as you mentioned, Matt Moore coming off the Tommy John surgery. Ortiz hit home run 499 and 500 off him. He ended up losing 10-2 against the Rays in his last start.
Christian Walker gets his first at bat in the ball game. He's hitting in Hardy's spot, playing at first base. He'll go to second. And first batter retired. Rutledge stayed on to play at second base. Holt is on at third base now as he comes in from the outfield. And Alan Craig, a pinch hit, goes to right where Holt had been. So Walker retired, one away. Steve Clevenger, who came on to catch, will hit in Joseph's spot. Fouls that one back. Steve Pearce, the only starter, position player or otherwise, in the lineup. Owens has gone the distance. No walks, 4 strikeouts. Over the 100 pitch mark now. 0-1 delivery on the way. Clevenger will take it up high.
Hey, you never really know how hard it is or what kind of effort it is, but he's made it look easy tonight because he's pitched, and he's not a max effort guy. I mean, looked at some of my film and I'm going, maybe I should try to throw harder, but he has a very fluid windup. So again, he doesn't have to change anything here. Just pitch the way he has. But again, if he starts walking people, then
he's
maybe the fatigue is coming in.
Yeah.
He's thrown 108 and 103 on 2 occasions.
Clevenger hitting just 167 off left-handers this year. Will bloop one into right field for a base hit. So Clevenger is on with one away here in the 8th inning. The Red Sox do have bullpen action. Obviously, you don't want to hurt an arm here at this point. That's Menendez in the bullpen. Omar Mendez. We'll see how long they want to leave their starter in there. It's Oliver Drake for the Orioles. Nolan Reimold, leadoff batter, DH, will take the pitch up high. Reimold 1 hit, 3 at bats, and has struck out twice
on changeups.
Not going to hold the bag at first on Clevenger. Breaking ball will be up high.
Yeah, and that's another thing. It's not only the command, it's can you get the ball down. He's done a nice job of that all evening. So everything's up.
2-0 count. And that'll be on the inside corner for a strike. Owens, 8 innings, his longest outing, 3 times this year. Minors. Ground ball toward short. Marrero, 1. Relay, not in time.
Well, you can see why Devin Marrero is they talk about the guy that coming out of their minor leagues, one of their best fielders. Made that look easy as he gets the lead runner. I mean, just snap throw on the money. Reimold runs too well to double him up.
And that'll be it. So Owens is going to come out of there, and the 23-year-old left-hander, impressive in his 8th start, leaves the ball game with the Red Sox on top by a score of 10-0.
throw less fastballs, more breaking balls, especially changeups. Really made some quality pitches. They get him a lot of runs early, and then he pitches about as well as you can pitch. And then Roman Mendez actually came up through the Red Sox organization, but claimed on waivers from Texas, hard thrower. The 11th of September, actually was pitching pretty well down at AAA Round Rock for the Rangers organization. He had 5 saves, 3-2 record, ERA under 3 runs a game.
Owens, the congratulations from his teammates on a great job.
Don't strangle him.
No, don't hurt him. Alvarez will be coming to the plate. Ariel Alvarez, his first at bat, hitting in Manny Machado's number 2 spot in the lineup. Runner on at first base, 2 down. Nolan Reimold, the base runner, and first swing is a base hit. So Alvarez on with a single, and the Orioles have runners on at first and second base with 2 down in the 8th.
Yeah, that's at a Red Sox at bat. 95 in the middle of the plate. And Ariel Alvarez didn't even miss it.
Jimmy Paredes will get his first at bat, hitting in Chris Davis's spot. Chris had an 0 for 3 tonight. Orioles still trying to get a run in, trailing in this one 10-0. 7 hits in the game for them, all of them singles.
Yeah, so Jimmy 8 for 22 in September. That's over 350. 10 home run, but the last home run was July 1st. The long ball has escaped him.
Mendez, and a swing and a miss by Paredes.
You know, I was watching him warm up, Gary, and all he did was throw fastballs, changeups. So maybe those are the 2 most effective pitches, and those were the numbers. Paredes with great numbers against the Red Sox at over 400.
0-1 the count.
And there's another
0-2.
changeup. Yeah.
Reimold off second base, Alvarez off first. Here's the 0-2 delivery, and Paredes will take that one down low. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Jimmy Paredes, first half of the season, almost every day in as the Orioles designated hitter. Second half of the season, not so much. 1-2.
Well, the league got to him. You know, he's a very aggressive hitter, switch hitter. Early on, got a lot of pitches hit. Then you realize you didn't have to throw him a strike, and they stopped doing it. He'll still chase.
1-2 delivery on the way, will be outside. 2 ball, 2 strike count. Mendez trying to end this inning. Orioles trying to avoid a shutout at least here in the ball game. They've been shut out 9 times this year. 2-2 delivery on the way, and a ground ball back to the mound. Mendez has got it, and that will retire the side. No runs on a couple of hits, no errors. 2 are left on base. We go to the 9th inning. The Red Sox on top. Owens could be the winner. by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By your local BMW centers. And by visitannapolis.org. Find the Chesapeake experience at visitannapolis.org. Gary Thorne and Jim Palmer at Camden Yards. Red Sox jumped out early and have stayed on top with that 10-0 lead going to the 9th inning.
So Oliver Drake comes on, and again, he's been up and down 4 times. Lights out at AAA Norfolk. 23 out of 23. He was the closer. And again, ERA of under a run a game. So those are the major league numbers. And again, the one thing that I saw, great split-fingered fastball, pretty much fastball splitter pitcher. But the fastball command can be a little iffy. Splitter is his strikeout out pitch. And there it is.
Shaw will take the strike on the first pitch to lead off the 9th inning. He's 0 for 3 with a walk. He's gone 1 for 10 in the 3-game set, a home run. Pitch is down low by Drake. 1 ball, 1 strike. McFarland worked an inning, a run on 2 hits and 1 walk. Wright, the pitcher of record, the Orioles starter, 6 runs, 6 hits over 3. And of course, Henry Owens, no runs, 6 hits, 7 2/3. Now back into the seats. And a 1 ball, 2 strike count from Drake. A rather quiet Orioles dugout. 1-2 delivery. Just missed with that down low. 2 ball, 2 strike count from Drake. Jonathan Scope continued his hit streak to 9 games tonight with a base hit. And a few positives for the Orioles. Out in front and foul. Count stays 2-2. So the Orioles' 3-game win streak in jeopardy of going by the boards, along with their 7-game win streak here at home this year against Boston. Fouled off the other way. 2 balls and 2 strikes still. It's Ryan Cook.
Acquired from Oakland A's early on. A couple of years ago, an all-star for the A's.
And a swing and a miss. Gonna have to make the play. Clevenger will do so. And the strikeout for Drake.
I'll take a look at our Nissan pitch track, and this is how Oliver Drake's going to get you out. Splitter, hit the 2 strikes. Fastball command, went down and worked on it, got him back into the count with it, and then buried the splitter for the strikeout.
It's only the 4th strikeout recorded by Oriole pitchers in this ball game, where there were 15 in the ball game last night. 1-0 count. Castillo. Rusney Castillo, a base hit. 1 for 4. 1 ball, 1 strike count. There is Mike Wright, the Orioles starter. He will be 2-5 when this game ends. Towards short. And a shot. Makes the throw over to Walker, and there are 2 down.
Yeah, Paul Janisch can really pick it. Kind of interesting. And Brian Butterfield, who is their 3rd base coach but works with the infielders, he's talking about some, Bogarts has really turned into a good shortstop. But he said, but John McDonald, he could take 2 weeks off and make the most spectacular play like it was routine. You get that with Paul Janisch, you feel like he could do the same thing. That's how good he is with a glove.
Little roller. Drake the flip, and gets the out. So Drake comes on and retires the side in order. Bottom half of the 9th inning. Can the Orioles get rid of the goose egg? 10-0 Red Sox.
Follows the bottom of the ninth coming up. It is so tough to sweep a series, and Henry Owens of the Red Sox took care of it.
Boy, he really did. 7 2/3 innings, only giving up 6 hits. No runs in that. The Orioles themselves, Mike Wright, only lasting 3 innings, giving up 6 earned runs. No home runs for the Orioles tonight. Of those hits, all of them were singles.
All right, let's see how it ends. Can the O's get a run? Back upstairs, we'll rejoin Gary and Jim.
Jim and Rick will have a recap, and it will include Dustin Pedroia's 2-home run, 5 RBI ball game. Half those runs for the Red Sox.
Well, Ryan Cook does come on, and I was wrong. He was actually an All-Star 2012. So again, really struggled with his command. Was with the A's early on. Goes to the Red Sox, up and down. Actually pitched very well at Pawtucket. Also pitched very well at Nashville when he was sent to the minor leagues. Power arm, usually throws 93 to 95. And again, one of those guys where you lose your confidence. Sometimes you lose your ability to make the pitches you used to make.
So the Orioles will have a chance against him as Mendez came on and worked a third of an inning, gave up 1 hit, but got the out that he needed to end that 8th inning.
He did not pitch well on the 2nd of September against the Yankees, where he gave up 4 runs, a couple of home runs, but down at AAA they were 2 for 30.
Junior Lake's going to get his first at bat, coming on to play center field. Adam Jones and 0 for 3 in the ball game tonight. Bottom of the 9th inning, and Lake up against Cook. And he'll go after the first one and foul it back. Came back up after Norfolk finished up in the playoffs. 3rd stint with the Orioles this season. Over from the Cubs in the Tommy Hunter deal. 0-1 pitch to Lake, and that'll be inside with a fastball at 95. 1-1. Goes to first and off the glove, hit hard. He'll make the turn and head to second base. Throw will not be in time, and Lake gets to second, leading off the bottom of the 9th inning.
And that was a rocket. Shaw can't handle it, and then he hustles it into a double. Where you hit the ball away, slows it down enough where Craig can't get to it until Junior Lake. And that ball sliced. Looks like he should have caught it, but it was hit very, very hard.
So Lake's 4 for 19 in his at-bats at the major league level. Here's Ryan Flaherty, his first at-bat. Flaherty a chopper to second, backhanded. Tough throw, play made, runner will move up. Rutledge at second base. Long throw going the other way, but gets the out.
Man, another guy, they get Cook from Oakland, they get Rutledge from the Dodger organization, and that is a nice play. Long way to go.
So 1 away, runner at third base. Flaherty moves him up. And Steve Pearce, the only one of the regular position players still in the ball game, and 0 for 3. 1 for 11 in the series, trying to get the RBI now.
And avert the shutout.
Yankees still beating Tampa 2-1 in the 8th inning of their ball game in Tampa, where the Orioles will be tomorrow night. 0-1 pitch. Just missed him. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, we talk about the average ball off the bat in the major leagues is 77. So you can see how hard that ball was hit by Junior Lake.
1-1 is in there. A bender from Cook and a 1 ball, 2 strike count. Pretty good pitch.
Yeah. As we know, Pierce hit a hanging curveball for a 2-run home run last night off of Joe Kelly. Kelly trying to win his 9th straight, had to leave with shoulder fatigue.
1-2 delivery down to third. Runner's going to come. They'll let the run go. And the Orioles are on the board. RBI for Pierce, and it is a 10-1 game.
Now we know why some of the fans stayed around to get that run. Jim Hunter was right. Let's get a run, and they do.
2 down here in the 9th inning.
Like everybody just woke up. That's what happens when you're down.
To cheer about.
Exactly. Of course, Junior Lake, he kind of running down the baseline looking back over his shoulder. And Holt, of course, went across the diamond. That's what you want to do. You're looking for outs here if you're playing for the Red Sox.
Giannis will deliver a base hit in his first at bat. So Giannis on with a single. The Orioles a couple of hits in the inning. 8 in the ball game. Christian Walker will get his second at bat. He grounded out. Another time up, came on to play at first base.
Yeah, home runs went from 26 to 18, but a lot of doubles this year, 33 of them.
Goes after the first pitch, can't hold up on it. Led the Tides with those 33 doubles and the 18 home runs. 138 games this season at AAA.
Yeah, we saw last year when he came up, pretty compact swing. When they got him out, they were able to run the ball in on him, and there's a breaking ball that he gives up on.
Oh, 2 pitch on the way. That'll miss by a little. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Cook trying to finish it off. Red Sox will avoid the sweep. And the Orioles will be 11-5 against Boston on the year, with 1 more series left to go at Fenway for this season. Orioles record at home still outstanding, 42-29 after this game. Orioles have only as many wins on the road, 29, as they have losses at home. 2 ball, 2 strike count. Cook's delivery. Walker takes. 3-2.
And the next 10 for the Orioles are on the road.
Hard to tell what these games are going to look like. As far as the effort from the other side, what they mean. 3-2 delivery on the way, and he walked in. That is the first walk the Orioles have had in the game. First and second here in the 9th. 2 away. Cook struggling to get this ball game over with. Steve Clevenger a base hit, his only at bat. Foul tipped. A 1 delivery to him. That'll be down low. Orioles again in a ball game where they've not hit a home run. When they don't hit a home run, they rarely win. And this could be another one of those ball games to be added to that list.
Yeah, Monday night, one of those rare games, 2-0.
It's only, I think, the 8th time neither team had a home run in a ball game here at Camden Yards this year. 1 ball, 1 strike delivery on the way, and that's way up high.
Yeah, so Ryan Cook all over the place.
Creating great agony.
No, he's always had a pretty good movement. Very herky-jerky windup. And, of course, when you throw that pitch with movement and throw it in the zone, and maybe it starts for a strike and darts out, it's effective.
2-1 ground ball. Force at second, and that's the ball game. Marrero takes it there to get the out. The Orioles do get a run in on a couple of hits. No errors. 2 are left.